Hello and welcome to the North Hudson Candidate Forum. My name is Mary Claire Olsen Potter, and I'm pleased to welcome all of our guests here tonight. During this forum, you will hear from 4 candidates running for 3 positions on the village board. There are 3 incumbents and 1 new person running for the board, so let's meet the candidates. Welcome Frank Halverson and Philip Motz, Brian Pike, and Tim Zeiss. Thank you all for being here. All right, I have a series of questions, and I will start with you, Frank. And first, tell us about yourself, your background, and your qualifications for running for the board.
My name is Frank Halverson. My wife and Bonnie and I live at 504 Summers Landing Road North. I have a degree in diesel mechanics from this Chippewa Valley in Eau Claire. For the last 22 years, I've worked for the City of Hudson. The first 6, I worked for Public Works, the street department. The last 18, I have been with water and sewer. I take care of all of their emergency power generation, and I've been a firefighter for 21 years.
Thank you. Philip.
Hi, my name's Philip Motz. I'm excited to be running again for the North Hudson Village Board. I'm just finishing up my first term in office. I've lived here for over 20 years. My wife and I have raised our 2 children here. We love our community. We love our neighbors. My background includes construction, military, facility management, and business ownership. My off time, I enjoy woodworking, carpentry, and spending time at the lake with my family and friends.
All right, thank you. Brian.
As I said last time, I'm an ordinary type person you wouldn't notice generally. I'm still married to my high school sweetheart for the past 44 years. We raised 6 children. They went to high school here. Moved to North Hudson in 1995, so 25 years ago. I graduated from Bible College in Chattanooga, Tennessee with a pastoral major. I came back home and began an associate pastor and principal of our church and Christian day school back in 1983. I started and ran a church for 10 years, and I did not take an income but did technology support work on the side, which led to my future role in technology. I've helped several companies build their very first networks, internal and external networks to the internet all across the country. And I ended my career and have since retired as Vice President of Central Region Information Technology. I've served on the board for 5 years, in the past 4 years as Chair of Public Works, and I have also represented North Hudson on the Cable Board for the last 4 years as well.
All right, thank you. Tim.
Thank you, Mary Claire. Tim Zeiss. I live in 629 Cherry Circle North. I've been there for 28 years. I've been married to my wife, Diane, for 34 years. I have 3 grown daughters who have brought to me 2 son-in-laws, and my middle daughter and her husband have brought me my first grandson. I'm currently, in my professional side, I've been in technology for 35 years. I currently work for a bank as a technology risk and compliance manager. On the community side, I introduced a neighborhood watch program to North Hudson about 15 years ago and a member of that. Currently president of the North Hudson Pepperfest, and been part of that for 6 years, and been part of the organization itself since I've been in North Hudson for 28 years. I'm here running today for my 3rd term as a trustee, where I currently chair the Public Safety, and have served on both the Public Works, Public Welfare, and Finance Committee.
All right, thank you. Our second question, I'll start with Philip. Why are you interested in serving on the North Hudson Board?
Well, I found during my first term that it was very rewarding to be in front of the going-ons in the village. It's great being able to walk the neighborhoods and talk to my friends and neighbors and kind of educate them, inform them what's going on. During my last term, we've started a few items that I'd really like to see come to completion, including the State Highway 35 project, which is going to be, I think, a thorn in a lot of people's side, but we're going to do our best to get through it. So that's
All right, Brian.
I was initially asked to fill a vacated trustee role in 2015. I found the past 5 years of service for the village to be fulfilling. I'd like to continue to help the village any way that I can. I've gotten to know the people of the village more than I thought I would. I'm interested in continuing to keep our taxes down by creating cost-saving measures, by keeping our public works and village efficient and up to date. For example, we push for the purchase of our Public Works building and the lot versus leasing them. That's resulted in an $18,500 a year savings. We added a salt shed recently, which is now saving us $7,000 a year, plus the efficiency of our Public Works team and not having to go get salt from Hudson, but it's right here and always ready for us.
All right, Tim.
Thank you. A key word for me is involvement. I feel it's important to be involved in your community, and serving as a trustee is just one way of doing this. I treasure living here in North Hudson. I see the growth, but I feel there's still things we can add to it, and I want to be part of that.
All right, thank you. What do you see as the most important issues facing the village in the next 2 years and beyond? We'll start with you, Brian.
In all 5 years that I've been involved with Public Works, it's been my goal to continue to create a plan to maintain our streets, our sewer, and our water systems. We're constantly reevaluating our capital improvement plan and finding what we need to hit as urgent as we can. And we're facing the 2021 project, as Phil said, of 6th Street or 35. I fought to keep our bridge open and at least one lane. I went down and spoke with those guys over and over. They were going to close us down, and had enough people in the village say, oh, no, you can't shut us down. And so all of us, I think, have said to them what we need to say. We have an aging sewer and water pipe system that needs to be carefully planned to upgrade, which we've been doing. And I'm very much about plan.
Very good, thank you. Tim?
We're going to have, some of our answers are going to be repetitive, but I'm going to kind of focus on some of that Highway 35 and 6th Street North, like Phil and Brian just stated. I think the key thing is that we have to keep in mind is our businesses in North Hudson, because, you know, when you cut down the main artery coming in from Hudson all the way through into North Hudson, it's going to impact them, and I think we have to take that in consideration to our businesses. The other key thing is I think our village should really make themselves aware of the street and how it's going to change. Sidewalks are going to widen. I think you're going to see a lot of trees being removed, and a blacktop facing potentially might turn into a concrete facing. So I think it's important for our citizens to make themselves aware of that. Another issue I want to make our citizens aware of is that our fire station is moving to a new location. I respect our volunteer firemen tremendously. I had 4 firemen in my family, and I know what it involves to be a volunteer fireman, especially Frank, and I know he's one of them. But with that said, I think that move and just how it's going to affect us in North Hudson should be made aware to our citizens. So.
Very good, thank you. Frank?
Obviously, Highway 35 project is number one. With the amount of state and federal monies being spent just on that project alone, any upgrades, anything that the village needs, you're never going to get it done any cheaper than you're going to get it done right then and there. So obviously, that Highway 35 project, the other issues that people have talked to me about, they want a resolution on the ferry landing issue down there. I mean, you get it from all sides, but I think that has to be addressed. And all the retaining walls down at Browns Beach, the steps and all that, those issues have to be taken care of as well.
All right, thank you. And Philip?
You know, I think we have a quorum. I think that Highway 35 project is going to be like the biggest thing in the next 2 years, with our aging sewer water infrastructure. Being able to shore that up and make it good for generations to come, I think is very important. It's going to be a sticking point. Like Brian said, we were all down there kind of chanting, like, don't close the bridge. So, yep.
All right. Our next question. Do you see any areas where the village could reduce spending without reducing services? And I'll start with you, Tim.
Thank you, Mary Claire. To answer the question, I'm going to look at our current main departments in the village and just kind of break it down. I'll start with our public works. We have a small crew of 3 managing our streets, our parks, our buildings, our equipment, and I don't think there can be any changes at that end. I look at the public safety. 25 years ago when I moved here, we had 6 officers on duty. We just recently hired our 5th officer on duty. So, and I don't think our community has gotten any smaller in those 25 years. So I feel that is properly staffed. Finally, our internal office staff is small with just the 4 workers, and they're completing a lot of activities on a daily basis. So in summary, I don't think the village spending can change at all as far as limiting it. I feel it would impact the actual services if we did.
All right, thank you. Frank?
I haven't actually seen the budget. I'm not an incumbent, so if I said that we could increase production and lower spending, you can't say that without being able to see all the figures. I think it's important to grow as the community grows, keep up with maintenance, and keep spending in check, absolutely. But not being an incumbent and not being able to see the budget, it's just not up to me to say.
Right, very good. Thank you. Philip?
One way I think is investing in our people. I mean, if we keep training them, then we are able to rely on less external sources, and we'll keep contract costs down because we'll be able to do it internally. I think another way is maybe not necessarily to reduce spending, but maybe to increase our revenue by expanding our village footprint. So by adding more houses, getting more tax income from businesses and housing, I think might be a better way than, because like Tim said, we're pretty thin. We're running efficiently. So,
All right. Thank you, Brian.
I believe we've done this every year that I've been on the board as far as being able to reduce spending without reducing services. We've taken on many responsibilities that we used to outsource. We have a very good public works staff that has enabled us to do that. We have had our public works staff, for example, become certified in confined spaces, which we didn't have before, which is saving us some money. We've taken on a lot more of the snow plowing in the village where we used to contract it out, and there was a significant savings year by year on doing that. We recently completed the upgrade of our 37-year-old lift stations, so you don't have to worry about sewer backing up in your homes. We this year got approval for a GIS system, which will help our public works be able to go out and mark everything in the village. So people that are wondering where their lateral is, people and their ability to find fire hydrants when they're plowed under. Even though we have flags on them, we have had snow so high. So the GIS system is going to be a great system for the village, and it will, again, improve our public works as far as efficiencies go. We're constantly going after government funding for our streets as we upgrade our streets. Frank mentioned Brown's Beach. I was encouraging and looked at the application, encourage them to get government funding to fix those retaining walls and to actually fix up that beach. And our public, not our public works, but our park board, I helped encourage them to get that done, and they have completed that application. I'm not sure how far it's gotten yet. And we need to continue to educate our public works staff to ensure that they have certifications and knowledge that they need so they can do as much of our maintenance as possible without outsourcing it. Saves us money.
All right, very good. This next question, I'll start with you, Frank. Do you see any things that can be done in the next 2 years that would improve the municipal operations in the village? And what would your ideas on how to improve these operations be?
I have a few. I just jotted a few things down. There's definitely things we need. We could use a tank and a pump put on a skid that Pat could slide in the back of a truck for flushing valve boxes, flushing curb stands, so you're not hooking to hydrants or dragging hoses across the road, things like that. I talked with Pat. He could definitely use a welder and a set of torches. If you don't have a welder and a set of torches, you got to hire all that stuff out. Lastly, power generator. If the power goes out in North Hudson, the village is basically at the mercy of city to pump all these lift stations down. They don't have a generator to go from site to site and pump the wastewater. Well, that's great as long as the city of Hudson has time or theirs isn't broke. These are all different things that the village could use, definitely.
All right, thank you. Philip?
Well, I just want to say our village staff, our village administrator, they're fantastic. They're all subject matter experts. I think we're very blessed to have the staff we do here. And I honestly want to let them do their jobs and sit on the board and just be the oversight like we're supposed to be. So I don't have a lot of great ideas about efficiencies. I want them to be the efficiency experts. I do like the fact that we have increased our policing staff so we can adequately police the village like it should be. Otherwise, yeah.
All right, very good. Thank you, Brian.
As I stated before, so for the next 2 years, we're talking about the 2021 project. As everybody stated, it's up front and on our mind. And by the way, for the village, there is a public information meeting tomorrow night at the City Hall at 7 p.m. Please go in there and tell them to keep our one lane at least open and the bridge open during the course of that project, which runs from spring to fall. There are retaining walls in the village that are getting old, and some very large ones. If they were to tumble, that would be a problem. And so we have gotten it on our five-year capital plan to replace some of these retaining walls that are pretty big. We had one fall when I first got on the board, and it was a small one, fortunately, and didn't interrupt us too much, so we started looking at all of them. There are some very large ones that we need to pay attention to. Continuous improvement of our sewer and water infrastructure. There are places where we have some pretty old pipes that need to be upgraded, and that would help to not have as many water main breaks. Our streets, we have 5-year plan for the streets. We've got, the St. Croix Street coming up, Wisconsin Street, Galahad Road, and Monroe Street. Those are all on, and those are based on what are called PACER ratings. So our guys go out and determine with our engineer what roads need work in what order. And so we do that every year. And as, the pipe under the Malibu, which that's coming also probably 2022. Wisconsin Street is going to get an upgrade in 2022 or 2023. Those are funds that we've applied for on Public Works. So these are all things that in the next 2 years would continue to improve the municipal operations of the village.
All right, thank you.
I'm going to base Mary Claire, my answer off of my community involvement. All the three gentlemen answered their questions. I have been more detailed, and I'm basing mine off an idea that I know that's in the works right now. In 2019, the Pepper Fest organization that I belong purchased a land and home behind the village hall here. And our goal of this Pepper Fest organization is to relinquish all debt, work with the village board and the community, and plan a community center back here. And then eventually Pepperfest would donate it back to the village. And the goal is to have a space available for the community meetings, family gatherings, have outside bathrooms so the community can use the park and use the whole facility. And eventually this community center would be a revenue generating for the village because they could rent this out on the weekends. And also it would relieve the stress of having meetings and events inside this village hall and moving it to the community center. And I feel that in the next 2 years, I think we're going to get to that level to have that building there. So
That's great. All right, so our final question is, are there any further comments that you would like to make? And I will start with Frank, and then we'll just go right down the line.
First, I'd like to thank whoever changed this forum date. Originally, it was scheduled when I was in Florida.
Okay. Well, we're glad you're here.
Going down to see my wife. So that being said, the issues that these guys have to deal with every day and what I'm signing up for, they're tough. They're tough. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. There's just, you have to come up with a solution. The tough issues are the ones you don't see coming and you can't ignore. And that being said, just keeping up the infrastructure, grow with the community, and thank you for the opportunity to let me speak today.
All right, thank you. Philip?
I just want to say, if you choose to vote for me, I really appreciate it. I'll do my best to try to find solutions that protect and enhance the village. And last, I'm on the bottom of the ballot, so just vote bottom up on your voting. So that'd be fantastic. Thanks.
That's pretty good.
All right. Thank you, Philip. Brian?
The only other comments I would like to make is I've enjoyed my time working on the village board, getting to know the village residents, and now working at a local establishment has allowed me to get to even know them better. It's always going to be my goal to keep our taxes down. I had a comparison done between our taxes from the time I got on the board to 2020, and they were 8.61% higher in Hudson versus North Hudson in 2015. In 2020, they are 17.38% higher. We have hardly raised our taxes at all in North Hudson. I know you're saying, yeah, but my tax bill went up. Well, if you read your tax bill and look for North Hudson taxes on there, you'll find out that they haven't really gone up. And so that's my goal. I keep our taxes down. I live here, and I want to keep our taxes down. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Tim?
Well, first, I want to thank the community for giving me the opportunity to be a trustee over the last 4 or 5 years. And then finally, I feel comfortable with any one of these candidates, Frank, Phil, and Brian. I appreciate and certainly appreciate their time and effort in running for a trustee, and I wish them all luck in the April 7th election.
All right. All right. Well, thank you all very much for participating today, and also thank you for your service and your willingness to serve to continue to make the Village of North Hudson a great place to live, work, do business, play, and have fun, right? So just a reminder for everyone to get out and vote on April 7th. For the River Channel, I'm Mary Claire Olsen Potter. Thank you.